Getting kids interested in the classroom can be a tricky business, but to be able to paint instruments and then play them, well, that suddenly makes things much more fun. By hooking up painted circuits to a single Arduino board and speaker, a range of instruments can be created, and you don't even have to touch it to play it. Now, each of these circles has its own electromagnetic field, and when my hand comes close enough to each one, well, it breaks that and sends a signal back to the circuit board, and that then plays the appropriate sound. This prototype only plays certain MP3 sounds all at the same volume, but by turning the paint into a sensor, the different levels of resistance can be measured, so you could alter each note's volume or pitch. You've got to remember to take your hands away. The company behind the paint, Conductive, says music isn't its only forte. It could also be fine-tuned for interactive books, doorbells, hidden sensors, and everyday light switches. These could be covered with wallpaper or painted over with regular paint, so you don't even have to see them.
One of the exciting things is giving it to a much larger or wider audience, and they come back saying, oh, actually it's really amazing for this application, or I really want to make this book or a poster or something else that, you know, we'd never think of, because one, we're doing other things, but also it's just collective brain power, I get, effectively.
You do need to wait for each circuit that you've painted to dry before you can test it out. Painted circuits is all well and good for amateur enthusiasts, but for professional engineers, much faster and more precise use of conductive ink is being investigated. At the University of Tokyo, researchers are using desktop printers to do something similar, which they say could revolutionise the electronics industry. Traditionally, in a lab, prototype circuit boards are sent for sintering and take a number of days before being returned for testing. But Professor Kawahara and his team have printed out working flexible circuit boards in a matter of seconds, using just photo paper and a special ink that contains silver. The fact that all this is flexible and can simply be printed and folded means that we could create our own 3D objects using a 3D printer and put those paper circuits inside so they can be a little bit more interesting. Here's a torch that we made, and sensors. This one, for example, has an antenna built in, and this detects how much rain is falling on it. These could be perhaps planted across an entire field, hundreds of them, and then they biodegrade, so they wouldn't be around after they were needed. Once the circuits are printed, the electrical components, like a battery or LED light, can be attached by hand. It's fiddly and takes a while. And that could be a problem for more complex prototypes. So this research has been taken further by Microsoft's R&D centre in Cambridge. These stickers make things easy by combining components with adhesive to cut down production time. The simple and instant fusion of stickers with the circuits means that components can be easily recycled, perfect for prototyping. Making electronics this simple could lead to a new era of product creation.
You can print out the functionality, a working circuit, print out the form factor and combine the two. So you can imagine in the future there being a machine, a printing machine, which actually prints working devices. It doesn't just print, you know, empty shells of Space Invaders, but it prints maybe a Space Invader with some interactivity.
Whilst of course you can buy electronic devices that have already been imagined from the high street, these new DIY circuits open the door to anyone with a printer to create simple gadgets unique to each of us.